And now let us say hello to an old friend of the show. It has been a while since we talked to Ragin' Al Iaquinta, and now he is here. He is finally back, and I'm so excited to talk to him about a whole host of things, including this weekend's fights. But first, Al, where have you been, my man? Long time no speak.
I've been good question. I don't know. Where the hell have I been? Maybe you could tell me. No, I don't know. I had a surgery. Maybe I had a few surgeries. I had two surgeries. A surgery. I got my nose fixed. How's my nose looking?
It looks tremendous.
I can
Well
breathe
done.
a lot. I can breathe. I couldn't breathe out of one side of my nose, so they that was probably the most painful surgery I've ever had. Was that deviated septum
Mhm.
surgery? Brutal. And then I had another surgery. Had a scope on my knee. Had some scar tissue taken out, and that's taking its sweet time healing. So I'm just kind of taking my time, recovering the right way, and we'll see. Hopefully, I get back in there early next year.
Okay, so I'm happy you just said that at the very end of your answer because I was scrolling through your mentions and your replies, and like 2 days ago, you wrote someone, I don't know if you were messing with them, but you wrote I'm retired. It just kind of flew under the radar. I was like, what is this? So you're not retired.
I wrote as I'm about as close to retired as you can. They were asking me. They were saying I was turning down fights to I think it was Makachev, and I was like, right, yeah, I turned down a fight with Makachev. I turned down a fight with every single other person that offered me a fight because I'm not fighting right now. So yeah, it's not because I look. I think it's pretty. I don't care who I'll fight anybody, but it's not because it's this guy or that guy. It's because I'm just not fighting. It's like
Okay.
they could come to me with freaking I don't know, with Conor McGregor for millions and millions of dollars. It's like right now I can't fight, so I got to turn down fights. I got to be healthy and be ready when I get in there.
But you do plan on fighting again at some point.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
And by the way,
going to see the doctor today. Do a little checkup, just kind of reevaluate things, and then move forward from there.
the knee surgery that you had, same knee that you injured before or different knee? Same
Yeah,
injury?
same
Oh,
thing.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
some scar tissue was building up in there, and it was kind of giving me some problems, swelling up a lot. It's been a thing that I'm just gonna have to battle forever. It is what it is. It's just I had a pretty intense surgery from a pretty intense injury that was rare, and it sucks, but it's it's it is what it is.
The good news is your hair looks fantastic. It's
Oh,
actually a little small than it was like a few months ago. Like at the beginning of all of this, when you emerged from the darkness, when you were cornering guys, it was like a nice fro that you were developing. I liked it a lot. This is a
yeah,
good look.
it was getting crazy. It was getting crazy. And then I don't know, I just like had enough of it. And I started to get it cut. They started cutting the sides, and then he was about to start the top. And I was like, you know what? Just leave the top. We'll leave the top. It's pretty long. It's freaking pretty
Uh,
long, but it's a little different. I don't know. I like it.
I like it, and I also like in your absence. I know you've been a big part of it. The team is doing great. Marab, Aljo, Chris Weidman, and many others. It's been a nice summer for the team, despite the fact that you've been unable to fight. I know you've been in a few of their corners as well. So things seem to be going well, despite all the craziness of 2020 lockdowns, New York, all that stuff.
Yeah, what a crazy ride it's been having Aljo. Aljo having the fight pretty much in the throughout the midst of COVID. We were left training in my garage with a, I don't know what we have, like 10 people at the most to rotate through with Aljo. We had to get Aljo everybody, a full training camp in a 2-car garage.
Wow.
It was pretty incredible, and I think we grew together even more. Like these guys are like my brothers to begin with, but then through that whole thing, and for him to go out there and perform the way he did through all that um, adversity and lack of supplies and like everything that he needed he kind of got through with the bare minimum, but just his mindset was every day. Didn't matter what was going on in the world. He had a goal in his mind, and there was nothing that was going to stop him. And I'm just so excited for him. Marab, the same thing. Marab went out there with Aljo to his fight, since he was out there in shape, he just took the fight and won a big one again. What was it, a month ago? Won another fight. He's like he's got on fire. It's incredible to be around, and it's motivating. It's kind of it's motivating me to just push hard in these therapy sessions, physical therapy sessions, and really get back, because I know I'm with the right guys. I'm looking at what these guys are doing, and if they can do it with really, through all this, they did it with nothing. They did it with a few good training partners, like family. That's all you really need. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the future for Aljo getting that title, and Merab's got a big fight coming up. So it's Weidman's back in the win column after, you know, that fight showed that he's still in there. He's still one of the most dangerous guys. Like the third round, he was exhausted. The other guy, they were both exhausted, and you know, I think he's getting paid like what he's getting paid. He's not getting a win bonus, so it could have very easily been a fight where he just kind of checks out. But to pull through in a tough, heated situation, a guy that's really tough. I think that fight is going to show how Chris is still in there. When that guy comes back, I think he's going to really get on a hot streak. I think that was a fight, kind of an under the radar fight that Chris won, and I think that just shows where he's at in his career. And I'm looking forward to everybody. It's awesome.
By the way, are you shocked that it took them 4 months to finally give Sterling the title shot? Like they probably should have given it to him a week after that Corey fight. It was getting a little dicey there with Marlon fighting. Bizarre, right?
Frankie, the Frankie fight, I think, then Marlon. Yeah, weird. I think Aljo right now is like, he's one of the most marketable guys the UFC has. I don't know why they wouldn't push him the way that they have been pushing other guys. But, you know, look, it's Aljo. That's Aljo. Aljo, no matter what cards are stacked against him, it doesn't phase him. He's just got one goal in his mind, and that things thankfully worked out in his favor, and it looks like now it's pretty. I mean, it's as set as it's going to do. They've announced it, so that's good. So I think now it's just up to him, and I know he's got what it takes. He's been working the whole time. In his mind, he had the title shot, and he's been working like he's the champion for sure.
And by the way, what's going on? It seems like he moved to Vegas. Merab's in Vegas. Chris is in South Carolina. They all left you? What's happening?
Jesus.
What the hell? Is the team no more? What's going on?
Very upsetting. Very upsetting. Now, Chris, I'm still trying to figure out what Chris is doing. No, he they like it down there. They're closer to family down there. And now it looks like he's getting some really good training down there too. He's got a lot of guys around his weight and stuff like that he's working with. So that's good. He's going to come, he comes back. He's come back a few times already, and he's been training with us, and he's going to come back to his camps. Aljo's back and forth. He's got the tax breaks out there in Vegas. He's got a house set up. He's got some rental properties back here. So he's back and forth. I think everyone's just doing really good for themselves. It's cool to see. Obviously I miss them all, but when everyone comes together in the gym now, it's like it almost makes those times even better.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you guys are still tight. One of the main reasons why I wanted to talk to you this week, in addition to catching up and seeing if in fact you were retired, was obviously Khabib Nurmagomedov is fighting on Saturday, and this will now be his fourth straight 5-round fight, right? Fought for the belt in April of 2018 and has since fought 2 more times. This will be the 4th. He's fighting Justin Gaethje. And I wanted to reminisce, if I could, a bit with you. And it feels like it happened 10 years ago, when in reality it was, 2.5 years ago, to by far the craziest fight week in UFC history. There will be no crazier fight week than this one. It started on April 1st, when we found out that Tony Ferguson was out of the Khabib fight after tripping on a cord at Fox Studios and blowing out his knee. Then walks in Max Holloway, who takes the fight on 6 days' notice, And then so that's on Sunday of fight week. So we're 6 days out. 2 days later, Khabib and his team, if you recall, corner Artem Lobov at the Fighter Hotel because of some things that Artem said that they found disrespectful. Then we get to Wednesday. Unbeknownst to us, Conor McGregor and his buddies are flying from Dublin to Brooklyn to confront Khabib. Then we get to Thursday, Al, and this is where I kind of want to start with the reminiscing. Thursday, media day, you're getting ready to fight Paul Felder on the card. They don't make a sign for you. Remember that? They didn't have the sign for you. Let's start that. What did you think when you showed up after everything that has happened over the years and there's no sign for you?
It's just par for the course. I was like, Jesus. I actually got a little heads up that they had forgotten to make a sign. I think it was a true, just, mistake. And of course it could have happened to anybody on the card, but it happened to me, who had so many issues leading up to that fight. But that's just kind of the way it goes. And Mark LaMonica, he messaged me and he was like, hey, they forgot your sign. You got to make a sign for yourself. So I wrote my own sign. I still have it somewhere. I still have it in that suitcase. I bring it to all the fights with me. But yeah, I thought that was crazy. And then, that's what we squared off. We get in the bus. We're about to leave, and just I thought it was like a terrorist attack or someone. I thought someone was shooting. I thought we were getting like shot up for a second. So when Conor threw that dolly through the window, first it was banging. They were banging, and I was like, the bus had just started pulling away. So I thought that maybe they were running somebody over. And they were banging on the window. First, I thought it was fans. I was like, oh, there's fans or something. I don't know. It's weird, like banging maybe fans want to see Khabib. I don't know, or whoever's in the bus. Then it was too intense for fans. It was like aggravated, boom, boom, boom. So I thought they were running somebody over, and I thought it was like, stop the bus. You're running somebody over. And then out of nowhere, the glass shatters, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get like, this is serious. Something's going on. This is not good. And then I saw Conor run around on the other side, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, it all makes sense. That was kind of like, at that point, it was like a joke to me. I was like, this is not that serious. It was kind of I kind of knew what it was. It was a show, and yeah, it's still pretty bad what happened to a lot of people. That what happened to Chiesa and Rose. I guess Rose was pretty distraught about the whole thing, and then Ray Borg got some glass in his eye. So I mean, that's thankfully no one wasn't a shooting or something, whatever. But yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Who were you sitting next to on the bus?
I was sitting next to Justin the Kid Montalvo. He just made his pro debut, knocked out his opponent in like 30 seconds. But at the time, he called it the Conor McGregor experience. It was a fun ride for him. What's that?
He was with you.
Yeah, he was with me.
Okay, so he's sitting there. And how close are you to Khabib and his team? Because this is a small bus. This is not like a big...
He was right. They were right behind me. They were sitting right behind me. And that's when Conor came up and he was yelling like right past me at Khabib, right there in the back. And
do you remember his reaction or what he was saying?
I do remember him wanting to get off the bus, and Reed Harris was like, "No one's getting off the bus. No one's getting off the bus." And I think Ali was in the front, and they were. I mean, there was a bunch of the Irish guys were there, and they wanted to get off the bus and scrap right there.
Insane.
Yeah, and for me, I was kind of like cutting weight. I was kind of like, dude, can we just get out of here? I got to make weight tomorrow. You know what I mean? We had to make weight, and then they had to pull over. The cops came. We had to wait for the cops to interview a few people, and just for the day before a weigh-in, it was pretty wild.
And what a weigh-in that was, because then eventually you guys go to the hotel, and I'll never forget, like throughout the night, we start to find out this guy's out of the fight. Chiesa, Borg, Rose may not fight. Conor's, incarcerated at this point. He turns himself in, and we're all starting to wonder, like, what is going on here? Then Friday morning, we start to get word, there's starting to be some whispers that Holloway's not going to make it to the scale. He doesn't make it to the scale. The doctors don't let him make it to the scale. But I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you weighed in before we found out that he was out, right? And you weighed in at, what was it, like 155.6 or something like that?
I think it was point 0.2 or point 0.4. I was like just barely over. I think it was point 0.2, 155.2. Yeah.
Did you know before weighing in that there was a chance he might be out?
No, no.
Because
I think,
obviously you would have just done the 155 if there was a chance, right?
yeah, yeah. Yep. As far as I was concerned at that point, all my focus was on Felder. When you weigh in, you see the guy you're fighting, you kind of like, it's like, you kind of like looking at him, see how do you think he's feeling? How's he looking at you, kind of thing. And I was my focus was definitely on Felder the whole time. As far as I knew, I was fighting Paul Felder that following day.
To the best of your recollection, what was it like going once you find out that Holloway's out, the negotiation process and the road to getting eventually the Khabib fight? They end up going with you to fight Khabib. What was that experience? Because I remember it being several hours later, right? I actually remember we were in the courtroom waiting for Conor to show up, and that's when I found out you got it. But this was now like 5-6 hours later. What was that like for you?
I was just on the phone with my manager, Dave Martin. We were talking to them, Randall. Uh, I went down to the lobby, and I saw Sean Shelby, and I was at that point. I don't think he liked me very much. We had some heated arguments like right leading up to that. So I was yelling at him from across the hotel that I was his guy to put me in and stuff like that. And he was just like with his head down, shaking his head. He was like, "Oh God, can you someone get this guy out of here?" And I was just kind of tormenting him. But then they called me and they told me to come down, and I went down, and that's kind of when I knew I had to fight. And I was like, "Holy shit, this is wild. This is crazy."
And this was fairy tale stuff because you're from Long Island, very proud. We're in Brooklyn. You can't get much closer than that, other than fighting at Nassau Coliseum, right?
Yeah.
You have your whole crew there. I remember seeing your sister at the ceremonial weigh-ins with all your friends and stuff. They do that press conference for you guys, and now here on 24 hours notice, you're fighting a guy who people are starting to say is one of the best fighters of all time. He has yet to officially fight for a belt. This is supposed to be his big coronation, and now here you are, the quote unquote Brooklyn gangster, Iaquinta, as he calls you, fighting on 24 hours notice. Do you remember what that night was like? The Friday night, like after everything you've been through on Friday during the day, now coming to the realization that in less than 24 hours, you're fighting Khabib for the undisputed title.
Yeah, that was wild. I might have slept like 2 or 3 hours that night. It was just wired. Just the energy from the whole weekend. It was like, usually that's how I feel after a fight, but for some reason I felt like that before the fight. Like just that after I fight, like that night, I don't sleep usually till like the following afternoon after the fight. And that's kind of how I felt with this whole thing. There was just so much buildup, so much thinking, so much whatever. I felt it was just the energy was crazy, but I was wired. I was fully awake, and like I just couldn't wait to fight. Nothing to lose. Yeah, I mean, fairy tale. It had to start to a fairy tale, but the end was not so fairy tale. I mean, that's what happens. But yeah, no, that was how crazy. Like you said, that definitely the craziest fight week build up ever.
Were you nervous before the fight, considering you had nothing to lose in most people's eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I was. It's just like any other fight. I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But more, I think, a little the same nervousness as any other fight, except that now it was less to lose. I think I was kind of like a win-win situation, and maybe that was kind of like the wrong attitude to go in there with. But um, at that, I was just like, let it go. Let's go in there and just. I didn't really do much. I didn't do it. I didn't really look at any video. I didn't do nothing. Maybe I should have, but I was just like, at this point, we got a couple hours. I'm just gonna go in there with what I got, what I've trained with my whole life, and see how it plays out. And that's kind of the game plan I went with. So
Have you ever rewatched the fight? And if so, when's the last time? Do you recall?
I've definitely rewatched it a bunch. Every time it's on TV, I'll get a text message from
Huh.
somebody that it's on, and I'll turn it on and I'll watch it. The first two rounds kind of sucked to watch. It's me just kind of getting controlled, but after that, I mean, it was good moments. There was good moments in there that you see those glimpses of good things that you did, and I'm like, oh man, if I get healthy, I get a few good wins, I put together a real preparation for this guy, it could be different. That's kind of the mindset that I'm in when I'm watching it.
People talk about his strength and obviously his wrestling and the Dagestani handcuffs and all this stuff and the little things that he does, like putting his hand over the mouth and all that. What was it like? If someone asks you what's it like to be in there with Khabib for 25 minutes, how would you describe it? Is he unlike anyone you've ever fought?
Uh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely anyone that I've fought in the UFC. I mean, I felt guys that are as strong as him that use their weight, but he um yeah, in the at 155, I think he's probably the strongest guy. Um or yeah, he's definitely one of the strongest guys. Uh, but it's just his game is very different than uh, anybody that I went with. Um,
How so?
Trips against the cage, I would feel safe in certain positions, but then he'd come with a trip where I thought uh, maybe he would have done something else. He's got that down. He's got his game down to a T, and he's great at getting people like kind of like filtering whatever's going on into his game where he can get you against the cage. Um, and you're so, even when you're so aware or prepared for a takedown, that's when he'll start boxing and using his hands, even against Conor, how he hit him with that shot, that overhand, and just mixing it up. When he'll shoot, he shot a low single on me and kind of just held on to my just really held on to my ankle, and that wasn't a shot that I was prepared for. He'll dive in for shots sometimes just to get in and then figure out a way to finish. And his strength pulls him through. Maybe if he takes a little bit of a not a traditionally great shot, he'll get in, and because he's so strong, he is able to finish. And he does. He's like his finishing techniques are incredible. His strength is incredible in the exact direction that he knows how to use it. So he knows how to use his strength when he's on top of you. Uh, I kind of related to when I have rolled with Matt Serra. Matt is a big guy, 200 plus pounds, but when he's on top of you, he feels like he's 10,000 pounds.
Mm.
Not because he is a big guy, but just how compact he is and where he's using his weight. He knows exactly how to distribute his weight in the right place at the right time to get the reaction that he wants for him to advance his position. And I think that he's a master. Khabib is a master at that. So that's where and he's relentless. He, even when you get up, he's going right back. He's not really scared to get tired in those grappling situations. So he'll keep the pressure on and keep pushing until he gets what he wants.
Do you take any pride in the fact that you went 25 minutes, that he couldn't finish you? And then, no one else has gone 25 minutes with him in the UFC, right? He finished Conor, he finished Dustin, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. People bring this up a lot. And I know that fighters don't necessarily believe in, you know, silver linings, moral victories, and things of that nature. But deep down, do you take any pride in that, especially considering it was on 24 hours notice?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you got to. Otherwise, it's a total disaster. So I think that yeah, if that's you, find the positive. If there's a positive to come out of it, that's it. But I knew that. I knew I'm tougher than all these guys. So they'll find. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. Like maybe they're smart. They found a way out. I kind of got beat up a little bit extra, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely tougher than most people. So chalk that up to what you will. But
Is that experience almost like a gift and a curse for you because you got the experience, but also I would imagine you've thought many times, man, if I just had a full training camp, I could have done better, right?
yeah.
Do you think about that a lot? Does that?
It's definitely motivating. It's motivating to on a couple hours days notice, whatever, to get in there, mix it up with the best in the world. Not these guys have so much more time to prepare that yeah, I'm right there.
Who do you think wins, Khabib or Gaethje this weekend?
Oh man, I've been asked this question so many times, and if I had to put money, I'd put it on Khabib. But there's so many variables, so many factors. I think that they're really two guys just at the best, the top of their game. You know, Khabib, both great training camps. They both have great trainers, great teams. Khabib lost his father not too long ago, and I think to a lot of people that might be maybe a negative thing, but I think it will give Khabib strength. I think he's fighting, you know, thinking of his father and all the times that they had training in the past, and I think it's probably going to help him, push him even more than it ever has. Gaethje's looking better than ever. He's, I think, usually a wild fighter, very reckless sort of in his striking, and I think he's got great scrambling ability. He gets taken down, he finds a way to get back to his feet, but I think he's kind of honed his skills. Definitely, if he's the same fighter that fought Tony Ferguson, I think it's just you really can't. I can't call it. I think it's two guys at the time. This is the kind of fight that I'm really looking forward to. It's two guys that are at the top of their game, the best. It's whatever happens is going to be crazy. It could end fast. It could go the whole distance, but I'm so intrigued to see how this fight plays out.
I think most people think that, and I spoke to Dustin about this last week. If Justin can keep the fight standing, and in particular keep the fight in the center of the octagon and not get pressed up against the cage, he could have a chance. Do you believe he has a chance?
Oh yeah, most certainly has a chance. He's been knocking guys out. He's got power. The leg kicks present a big problem. Will he throw the leg kicks? Will Khabib use them if he does, take Gaethje down off those leg kicks? Khabib, if he doesn't throw the kicks and it becomes a boxing fight, say Gaethje throws a leg kick and gets taken down right off the bat, ends up scrambling to his feet, he might stop throwing the kicks. And Khabib's boxing is really good, and it's Ray Longo and I were talking. We were looking at some video of him hitting the pads, and he never really looked. He always looked. He looked good hitting the pads, but now I think he's looking the best he's ever looked, even just hitting the pads. And in the fight, he's a little awkward. He's definitely awkward, and he's got a different style. The way he pulls his head back out of range, but he's hard to hit. Not many people have hit him. Even in the fight with Conor, he landed. I mean, as far as boxing goes, they were right up there. He landed a bunch of really good combos, and I think he's just improving more and more, and he's getting so much more comfortable in his boxing. So I think if it ends up being a boxing fight, it's no matter how it goes, it's intriguing. It could go any way.
If you could offer Justin any advice as someone who's been in there and went 25 minutes with Khabib, what would it be? Especially early on.
I definitely just stay off the cage. I think everyone, there's no secret there. You want to stay off the cage. Stay off the cage. It'll be interesting to see. He throws fast, hard leg kicks, and that's kind of really where I'm But then he'll go to the calf kick, and I think the calf kick will be a little bit more tricky for Khabib to catch and use for an opening for a takedown. So it'll be interesting to see how Khabib avoids the kicks, the calf kicks, and if Gaethje throws him, if what kind of answer Khabib has for him. I think that's kind of like that'll be like the first layer of this fight for me, is how Khabib deals with those kicks, and it's something that we haven't really seen anyone do to Khabib, is really throw those hard leg kicks, because everyone is scared to get taken down. But I don't think Justin is really too worried about it. So that's the first kind of few minutes of the fight is what I'm looking at, and I think that's going to tell a lot.
So official pick? Are you picking Justin?
No. I'm going with Khabib. I think Khabib gets it done. I think that
finish.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't call that, but I think there's a huge possibility that he gets to finish. I think that if he can get him if he can make it a grappling match, I think that he's going to definitely be more technical and more skilled on the mat. I think in the scrambles, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because he's wild. He'll scramble from anywhere. He'll flip and turn and end up back on his feet. But if Khabib can control him and keep him on the mat and force Justin to make it a grappling exchange where he'll have to use technique to get back to his feet, I think Khabib could take his back, could sink in a choke.
Do you have interest in this GSP Khabib fight?
Yeah, that would be crazy. Right?
Yes, it would be.
Wouldn't that be cool? GSP, the guy is just, for him to come back the last time against Bisping, it was like, all right, we'll see what happens here. I don't know. He didn't really seem too promising going all the way up in weight and after that long layoff. And then he got the job done. And now if he can do it again, I mean, how many, that was 3 years ago already?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another 3 years off. If he's been training this whole time I guess he is. I don't know what else does GSP do? I don't know. Right?
The guy is incredible.
I would love to know, what is GSP doing today? Is he just training like a professional fighter?
I mean, I don't know if he's like in a training camp, but if you follow him a little bit, I mean, like he's in phenomenal shape still. Yeah. Like he's still got like the 6-pack and everything, and doing all kinds of exercises at his home. I do think he would come out of quote unquote retirement for this one fight. The big question for me is, what weight would it be at? I don't know if he can make 155. Do they do a catch weight? I know UFC doesn't love catch weights, but to me, a fight like this is bigger than for a belt. It's almost like when Matt Hughes fought Hoist Gracie back in the day. You remember that? Yep. They weren't fighting for a belt. It was actually at a catch weight. To me, this would feel like the same thing, right? Like the new meets the old, past, present type of thing.
Yeah. And I don't know if GSP, I mean, yeah, that would be a crazy, crazy fight. Who, you wouldn't even know, GSP being out that long. I guess I'd like to see it. I'd be glad to watch that. I'm a big fan of both guys. So GSP, I think they should make that fight. Hopefully it does happen, because I know
it's 1 o'clock.
I know that Khabib. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was weird. What was that?
I don't know. My computer just does things, and out of nowhere, it just started telling me what time it is. So
that's amazing.
I'll be sitting here, and now we know it's 1 o'clock. But yeah,
don't break it.
What's that?
Don't break it. It's a good computer. Now that we're not doing the show anymore. No, I'm not done. I had 2 quick questions. No. It actually gives me great Jewish guilt anytime you break your computer. 2 last things. Do you love it as much as I do? Anytime Khabib calls you Iaquinta, I don't know why I like this so much, but it cracks me up every time.
I think that's how you're supposed to say my name.
Oh, really?
I think he says it right.
Okay. Why? Is it a Russian name?
No, it's an Italian name, but I think it's Iaquinta is how
okay.
You really say it. I think the Americanized version is Iaquinta.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well,
I'm
there
pretty
you go.
sure. I'm pretty sure he's saying it the right way. It's just over. It's just been turned into Iaquinta over the years or whatever.
Okay, and last thing, I saw you comment on this as well on Twitter. It seemed, and correct me if I misread this, that you weren't a big fan of the way Dustin was handling the Connor stuff because you wrote like something like "LOL, come on, Dustin" or something like that. Why?
Yeah, what is
What
that
was
guy?
that?
What is that guy doing? What is he? Connor's fan? Like he's fighting. He's like a fan fighting Connor. I don't know. It's so cringy. Connor's like, I'll fly you over and I'll donate my money to your charity. I'd be like, bro, I'll fly myself over, and when I beat the shit out of you, I'll donate my own money. Like, what is this? What is it? Kumbaya? Freaking Connor? Like, what the hell? Are you kidding? He's lost the fight already. If the fight happens, there's not a doubt in my mind Dustin's losing that fight. He's like already seceded in everything. He's like, thank you for the flight over. We'll fight in Ireland or wherever, and thank you. We'll fight for a charity. It'll be great. It's like, dude, get out of here. What? This is a fight. What are you freaking kidding me? You're gonna thank the guy? You're thanking? Oh, this is great. We're gonna do this. No, you think Connor is really gonna? You think he's really not gonna? This is for him. This is not for you, Dustin. Relax, bro.
Incredible, incredible. Al, good to talk to you again. And
I won't slam the computer. I'll
please
just
don't do it. Okay,
nice and
just nice and slow.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.